Dricus Du Plessis has made a grave mistake, but at the same time, he has given us fans a gift because him and Robert Whittaker are fighting at UFC 290 International Fight Week in July as the feature fight. Dana White has just announced that this is going to be a title elimination bout, which means we are going to see Robert Whittaker fight Israel Adesanya at the end of this year, and I am leaning towards Whittaker to get his belt back. And we'll talk about that in a bit because I'm obviously looking past Dricus Du Plessis, who is a dead man walking, all right? Let's just get this out of the way. He is going to get destroyed by Robert Whittaker. The only thing he's better at than Whittaker is fighting like a drunk fool, all right? He's going to get his ass kicked. And also, Jalin Turner and Dan Hooker are booked for the card as well. That is an amazing lightweight fight. It's going to be a one-sided beatdown as well. I know the Aussies are going to get mad. I know the Kiwis are going to get mad at me for saying that Jalin Turner is going to destroy Dan Hooker. But let's get to reality real quick. Robert Whittaker and Dricus Du Plessis are fighting. This is an amazing matchup. I think that we're going to see a classic Robert Whittaker beatdown, man. We are going to see Whittaker absolutely destroy this man and put on the most convincing performance of his entire career since Marvin Vettori, his last outing. Whittaker has made a career off of beating the crap out of soggy, overhyped, mediocre middleweights. And he's going to do it again. I think that Dricus Du Plessis is the worst Robert Whittaker opponent since Darren Till. And I know that Darren Till gave Whittaker a tough fight, but this was Whittaker coming off of his knockout loss to Israel Adesanya. And that was in his head. And it was in his head when he fought Izzy the last time too. The fight that a lot of us had him winning because he was a little gun shy. But the improvements that this man has made have been insane. He looks improved in his last outing over Marvin Vettori, where he absolutely destroyed the man. He looked way better in that fight, physically and skill-wise, than he did against Kelvin Gastelum, who he 50-45'd. The fact that you are making yourself look significantly better after 50-45ing someone, like that should be your peak, right? He looks way better. He looks faster. He looks to be in better shape. He has got a new pep in his step, bro. He's motivated more than ever now that he knows he almost did enough to beat Izzy. A lot of people said that he beat Izzy. He's been destroying Izzy's opponents better than Adesanya. And I think all of this is going to lead to Robert Whittaker going out there to make a massive statement to get his title shot. And Dana White said this is the title elimination bout. No Hamzat in the picture. Adesanya's team doesn't want that. If you watch MMA, all right, and you've seen Robert Whittaker fight and you've seen Dricus fight as well, you're not picking Dricus Du Plessis and you're not giving him a good chance to win this fight. All right, there are guys that Dricus Du Plessis can beat. There are guys he can have a tough fight with. Whittaker's not one of them. Whittaker is going to dog walk this man, and I'm picking him by KO, TKO. I know he hasn't knocked anyone out or finished anyone in 7 years, but he's also been fighting guys that are hard to hit, like Adesanya, guys that have granite chins, like Jared Cannonier, like a Marvin Vettori. I think that this Whittaker will be the best Robert Whittaker we've ever seen, and I think he's going to finish Dricus Du Plessis in emphatic fashion, and then him and Adesanya are going to fight. As I said, Dricus fights like a drunk man. How the fuck are you going to pick him in this? He's not a better striker. He has no chance of taking Whittaker down. I think he's screwed, and I think Whittaker's going to knock him out. Whittaker and Adesanya, that's the fight that we're going to get this fall. I'm almost getting flashbacks to the last time they fought in the fall where, Adesanya knocked him out. But I like this Whittaker better. Now, the thing about Adesanya, though, that makes him so dangerous this time is the fact that he's coming off of a win over Alex Pereira, his boogeyman, which means he's had 2 training camps back-to-back against one of the highest level strikers on the planet, which means that Adesanya is no longer far removed from his kickboxing days. I know this is MMA, but he's been training for Pereira, who's a goddamn striker, all right? Who is 6'4", who's got a long reach. Adesanya is the most dangerous he's ever been, arguably. He's coming off of a massive win, maybe the most confident version of himself as well. And he's already beat Whittaker twice, despite the fact that a lot of us thought Whittaker won. He's got 2-0 on paper. And I really think that this is just as dangerous for Whittaker as it's always been. But because Whittaker won last time, and because he can mix in the grappling, and I think that he's a little bit more skilled than Adesanya everywhere the fight goes, I think he's still, for MMA, able to beat more people in that division than Adesanya, I think Whittaker has an easy fight with basically everyone in the division other than Adesanya. Whereas I think Adesanya has some tough fights here and there. Has some guys that he's going to have to stink by, snooze fest by. It's almost a 50-50 fight. I just feel like Whittaker at this point in time knows that the one issue that he has with Izzy is he cannot do anything on the ground. He can't keep him down. And it's not that Whittaker can't just keep Izzy down. He hasn't really been able to mount up any offense on the ground. He's landed, maybe 10-second flurries of ground and pound over guys like Kelvin Gastelum, guys like Darren Till, guys like Marvin Vettori. He can take anyone down in the division, without a doubt. He's the best wrestler in the division. But he hasn't been able to hurt people with it. And he doesn't have control time either. So he really needs to work on that. And I think that he's probably working on a submission game thoroughly. As far as his striking goes, I like the mindset that Whittaker has these days. I've seen recent interviews of him saying that he's just constantly thirsting to get better, just desperate to improve more and more and more. He's the hungriest he's ever been. And I like that from him. And he really wants to fight. And he said after watching Adesanya knock out Pereira that he realizes now more than ever that he just wants nothing more than to hunt down Adesanya and beat him. And I like the mindset from Whittaker. I can't wait for the fight. I think they're going to fight in the fall. And man, as much as I think that Whittaker is going to be a tough fight for Adesanya, how can you confidently pick against Izzy coming off of this win, knowing that he can probably get up to his feet if Whittaker takes him down, knowing that Whittaker hasn't really submitted guys. But either way, I'm happy to say that we're probably going to see that fight. I guess we're not going to see the Khamzat fight. Jalin Turner and Dan Hooker. Now, I know I had some harsh words to say about Dan Hooker, but the truth of the matter is he just beat Claudio Puelles, who may just be the worst fighter in the UFC, to be honest, may just be the worst striker in UFC history, maybe, aside from Ben Askren, I guess. Dan Hooker's old. He's had so much taken out of him in those wars with guys like Dustin Poirier, Paul Felder, Edson Barboza, even though that wasn't much of a war. It was just a one-sided beatdown. I can't really say Dan Hooker, just because he beat Claudio Puelles when Puelles shit his pants after getting kicked in the body a few times, is going to have a chance with Jalin Turner, who is an absolute monster on the feet. I think he's a top 3 most underrated striker in the UFC. And I would pick him in a heartbeat to beat a guy like Mateusz Gamrot again, because he damn near came close to doing it. He knocked Gamrot down in 2 different rounds and hurt him. And Jalin Turner, except for the fight with Matt Frivola, has basically hurt and rocked or finished everyone that he's fought. He is going to hurt Dan Hooker. He's just a little bit crispier everywhere on the feet. He's got so much more power. He's way faster. He's the real fucking deal. I honestly think this man would beat Fiziev too. Please watch some Jalin Turner fights, bro. There's just something about the way that this guy strikes. He's so dangerous with everything that he lands. And he's throwing in combinations and he's ripping to the body. He's throwing big knees up the middle. He's going to knock out Dan Hooker on UFC 290. I'm just so stoked about this card. We have Volkanovski and Yair. We have Moreno and Pantoja. We have Whittaker. And we have Dricus Du Plessis, the drunk man. And of course, we have this fight between Hooker and Jalin Turner. I think most of us are going to pick Jalin Turner. And as I said, it's going to be an easy KO. And the part of me that doesn't like this fight is the fact that Jalin Turner is going to start to be seen as a guy that's just beating on guys that aren't that good. But he arguably came close to beating Mateusz Gamrot. And I actually think that if that fight were to have gone 5 rounds, I think that Turner would have beat Gamrot because he was not slowing down. Turner did not at all look like he was gassing out against Gamrot, who has one of the best paces in that division. And he's extremely dangerous. The weight cut doesn't seem to affect his cardio. He's tough. He has a pretty good chin. And good luck getting around the reach. Even though Dan Hooker's tall, he's not going to be as tall as the 6'3" Jalin Turner. So, bro, I'm just so goddamn happy. I'm going to show you guys my reaction because I almost couldn't believe that the Whittaker fight was going to be made. And I freaked out on live stream and I immediately wanted to make this video. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Who do you think is going to win these fights? Who are you picking between Whittaker and Adesanya? And here's my reaction. Until next time. Dricus versus Whittaker at 290 just announced. No way. I don't believe you at all. If that's the case, holy fuck, dude. No way, I don't believe you. No! Let's go! It's true! Yes, bro, yes! Fuck.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Damn, no wonder you can't put on any size. You can't even get past the first couple bites of that meal. Keep eating all that dog shit, that broiled chicken. I'm gonna show you how to spice it up in the kitchen.
We're rocking with butter chicken. This ought to put on some mass. We're rocking with some ginger garlic paste, red chili pepper, salt. And we're gonna mix that up, toss it on a pan with some ghee, stir that up, and right before it's done, put it aside. We're gonna use the same pan, some tomatoes, grass-fed butter, onions, right? Stir that up, let it simmer. We're gonna add some brown sugar, garam masala powder, a handful of cashews, and a little more red chili powder. Blend that shit up in a blender. We're gonna put some more butter on the pan. Pour that blended sauce up, add some heavy cream, put the chicken back in, stir that up, and you got yourself one of the most gorgeous, delicious meals you could ever imagine. This will put on some size. For more meals like this, guys, check out my Real Food Cookbook.